What's up, YouTube? My name is AmosBro, and for this video, we're going to talk about UtaPri's being apparently equal opportunity. Yeah. So, let me explain this. UtaPri's, as we know at its core, is an otome game. Otomes are generally, otome/visual novels, are generally geared towards a female audience. Although, as you know, I've been playing them because I don't give a damn. So, generally, when you look at this, you're thinking, what kind of audience is going to play them? Female. And therefore, when you think about the concerts that UtaPri's runs, what's generally the audience going to be? Predominantly female, right? Well, apparently starting at the 4th stage, and I didn't know this, they started to have a bit of a male influence in their audience. And apparently at one point, and I didn't know this because, just so people understand, when I watch it, I don't watch a sub version, I watch the raw version. Apparently at one point, Ren and Morikubo, or in other words, Soabe and Morikubo, referred to the audience as princes and princesses and my girls and my guys. Yes, that is legit the nicknames they use for their fans, female and apparently male. But this can only be a one-off, right? There's no way they would do it again. Apparently 5th stage, lightning does strike twice. So apparently numerous times during 5th stage, when they were addressing the audience, Ren Soabe would refer to the audience as princes and princesses, and Morikubo would go my guys and my girls. Cool. So what we have is a situation where what I like to call the Sailor Moon effect is taking place. What does that mean? Because every time I mention it in the fandom, people literally go, what the hell does this mean? Okay. Let's go back to when Sailor Moon first started. Now, it probably, especially in Japan, had a predominantly female audience. There was majority, which is expected because it is a shoujo, it is a magical girl anime. That's fine, cool. No qualms about that. So the show comes out here, and I think around the time it came out here, it either had just ended or was getting ready to end in Japan. So it has its audience that it attracts, and it's probably, again, a majority female audience. Alright, that's cool. Well, what we found out was, later, through a survey at a group called Moonchase, Sailor Moon's fandom actually goes 60% female, 40% male. It's a virtual split if you really break it down. So, mine, in case you're wondering, my split on my channel is actually majority female. It's like, well, Lifetime is probably still more male, but if you look up the list, like 28 days, it's actually a 55% majority female audience because of the topics I cover and so forth, which I'm happy with, actually. But Sailor Moon, the fact that it got a 40% male audience tells you that it had a way to get an appeal with a Western audience in the male demographic that has lasted for many, many, many years. Since the original version went bye-bye, and of course now we have the reboot. So if you take this and you apply it to UtaPri's, what's happening? The series has been around since 2010. This year is its 6-year anniversary. And at 5th stage in January, you have, as somebody mentioned in a 5th stage report, there were a lot of shout-outs to the male UtaPri's fans. This is really smart on Broccoli's part, because here's what's going on. Broccoli's realized they have a hit with UtaPri's. Well, they knew it was going to be a big deal with the female audience. I don't think they expected when the anime, and I think part of it, if not almost all of it, has to do with the anime and maybe the music games, because what's going on is they're starting to expand their fan base outside of the majority female. It's still going to be a majority female audience, but now you have a male audience that you can tap into in some way, shape, or form. I don't know how you do it. Well, probably with the CDs. But other than that, it's going to take time, I think, to really, really cultivate it. But acknowledging them at the stage shows with the phrases, because here's what was even funnier. Apparently, when the male audience members at 5th stage cheered, the other cast members were like, whoa! Like, they weren't expecting that. So, what we have, again, like I said, is a situation where UtaPri's is cultivating a new audience, not just a Western female audience, but also a global male audience. And that can only mean really good things for the series, because to me, and this is my opinion, one of its secrets to its success, and this is something that, by the way, Anime News Network was talking about the secret to Love Live's success. They need to talk about the secret to UtaPri's success, because that went from a 1,500 seat building called Uport Hall with its lives to now selling out 36,500 seats at Saitama Super Arena, and, as we've mentioned in the past, outrolling Wrestle Kingdom 10. There is something about UtaPri's that is attracting everyone, though, it seems now. Everyone. And that can only benefit the series. Do you think, and be real with yourself, do you honestly think that Broccoli is looking at this and they're going to go, ooh, we have to cut the series out now because we have a male fandom that's coming in. No! They're looking at this now going, okay, we've got this fan base. We've got this new crop of fans that happen to be male. So A, we have to figure out how to acknowledge them at the shows, i.e. the Prince's comment or the My Guys comment. And we have to be able to keep it going. How do you keep the momentum going? Can you keep the momentum going past this season if you use Heavens for a season? I think you can. It's going to be tricky, but I think you can. I think you could if you do another season with Starish. Because if you really, really break down what's going on with UtaPri, it's become as we've discussed, a global series, and now one that they acknowledge their female fans, which they know they were going to have, but also their male fans now. And this is going to be where UtaPri is going to either live or die. Can you cultivate the growing male fans? It's kind of like, it's also kind of like Memo, because from what I have heard, he's getting a lot more male fans also coming to his concerts. I read that before too. So this, if you think by proxy, Mao's getting more male fans coming to his shows now than he probably did before. UtaPri's getting a male fandom coming into their shows now. You've got people like me and a friend of mine that I introduced to UtaPri playing the music games and watching the animes. So it can only be a good thing to keep this going. But how do you do it? You probably... Look, a lot of people get this... And we're going to branch this out a little bit, so I apologize this goes a little long. A lot of people assume that it's hard to find males in fandoms. You just have to know, okay, what I like might not be something that they're into as far as an aspect of a show, so what can I use to draw them in? With UtaPri, what's something, because some guys may not be into the idea of the pretty boys, the idols, but what can you use to draw them in? The stories of their characters? That would work. The music, obviously, because who doesn't like music? So there's that aspect. Do you see what I'm saying? You have to figure out, with, be it UtaPri, be it Free Highway Toys Film Club, Kuroko's Basketball, Attack on Titan, whatever. What can you use to draw new fans in? That it may not be necessary. You may like a certain aspect of a franchise, but like I said, people might not be in that, so you have to figure that out. And the thing with me when it came to UtaPri was, I knew what I liked, and yeah, I knew there were pretty boys in there, Bishonins, Vishis, and that was cool too. I actually don't mind that. But the music was what drew me. Do you get what I'm saying? The music, the personalities of the characters, it was an entire package. And now that I've started watching the lives, like I watched third stage, I watched fourth stage, I'm debating fifth stage. That now we've gotten to this point, I think, when it comes to UtaPri. Again, I'm going to reiterate it. How do we keep that momentum going? be it in Japan and worldwide. How do you keep it to where the show and the franchise practically at this point has a 50-50 split? Or maybe 55-45 still female dominate. What steps do you take to make sure that a show like UtaPri's can keep this momentum going? Because it is legitimately the one thing that is going to seriously help this franchise in the future. With the anime, with the music games, with CDs, with everything. Because that is one of the packages. It's one of the big packages. What would really help in the West is if you can get the localization done for the visual novel games, at the very least. And that's something that needs to be figured out and thought about quick. Because, like I said, you're trying to grow, you're trying to cultivate a new set of fans now. And when you get to 6th stage, there still may be a majority female crowd, but what you want to bet there's going to be some more. The male population is going to start growing even more in Japan. I think it's going to be a very interesting test for UtaPri's now. Because if you're starting to gain a male following, can you keep it? We know it's not the big focus, but you need to focus on it somewhat to make sure that this fandom keeps expanding and the franchise can live on for practically an eternity. Because, ladies and gentlemen, what we're witnessing is practically the Sailor Moon effect. And it's going to be interesting to see where it goes now that 5th stage has happened, and now that we're learning they got some male fans appearing at their concerts. I suggest they put their heads together and go, we need to figure out how we keep them now. But maybe that's just me. What do you say? If you see this video on Twitter, shoot me either a DM or a comment and a tweet. If you see this video on YouTube, you know what to do. Anywho, that is the video. Tomorrow, I'm going to actually do another video. Hopefully it won't be as late as this one. And we're going to talk about what I think is a very interesting partnership that has recently come about. And that is Crunchyroll and Funimation. I'm really interested in talking about this one. Believe me. I'll talk to you all tomorrow. Later, friends.